Today's thought of the day, and we are like at the end, we're like close to the month mark now of this quarantine, which is ridiculous. There's a meme going around that says, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not going to look it up, but something to the effect of, if during this time, this quarantine time, you are not doing something, not learning something, or not creating something, or like not being productive, that you didn't have a lack of time problem, you had a lack of like willpower or lack, whatever, like you're a lazy bum if you don't do something during this time. And so there are two responses I've been seeing to that. And one is, of course, this is the best time to do something, learn something, create something, do something for the future. And then the other side is like, oh, that's complete BS. There's so much going on. There's so much stress going on. How can you expect me to be productive? So I wanted to respond, my response, which is that no matter the circumstance, you work 20 hours a day, you are a caretaker for someone 24/7, you are like, in life, there are always difficulties and there's always circumstances. And while I empathize with those of us who we have to take a break, right? If you've been productive every single day the last month, I am impressed, but I'm also going to suggest you might have a workaholic problem, and maybe that needs to be your next focus. My point is, if ever in life you find yourself going through long stretches of time, and you define what long stretches of time is, but if you're going a month, because this quarantine has lasted a month, if you've gone the entire month just surviving, got it? If you will define this entire month, 30 days, this entire month, you can say all you've done is survive, then what I hope that you see is that's a problem. Like that is a problem. And so, of course, I don't know your exact circumstance or situation, but in a month, I would hope that you would, not saying you would have solved your problems, because some problems are just gigantic, but that you have attempted and or are attempting another method, another thing, another like, what if I try this? Maybe that'll help my situation. What if I try this? Maybe that'll help. Like, if you're not constantly seeking ways to improve your situation, because here's what I do want you to know. There are people thriving right now. It is not everyone, and I don't even think it's the majority of people maybe, but there are people thriving right now in isolation, in quarantine, and not all of them are introverts who love being alone. Like, and when I say thriving, enjoying being alone is not the same as thriving. I'm saying that they are, just as they had before, improving their life in some way. So you define that. Like, you are the master of your world. You prioritize what is important to you. But if you can say that the last month you have survived and that you are exactly where you are a month ago, it's a problem. Something should have developed. You know, maybe you started off with being super depressed at this situation and stressed out and whatever. Maybe there was a lot of negativity when you first started. Maybe by now, hopefully by now, you are a little more acclimated maybe. You're a little more calm about it. You have a better outlook. Like, okay, well, obviously we're not going to die because we didn't die the last 30 days. We should not die the next 30 days. Okay, like, hopefully you've come to that spot in your quarantine life where you can then go, all right, cool. Now that I know the end is not here, now what can I do to make tomorrow a better day? Does that make sense? So while I don't think you need to learn a new language, unless it's one of your priorities, while I don't think you need to write a book, which is what I am attempting to do right now, I think you need to figure out what is important to you. And for the love, I hope that it is some level above survival. Like, I hope your expectations of you is more than just, I want to get out of this and not be dead. Does that make sense? Like, I hope you're also not dead, but I hope at the end of this you can go, one thing happened good. One positive came out of this. One silver lining, at least, came out of this. And not just any silver lining. Like, I don't want the silver lining to be that you didn't die, or that none of your friends or family died, or that you still have it. Like, I don't want it to be, I want you to be able at the end of this to say the words, not only did I survive, but in that time I was able to fill in the blank. The thing that you improve upon really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. So I'm not saying it has to be this grandiose, like, solved world hunger. I'm just saying a month of your life, and heaven forbid 2 months, 3 months, 4 months of our lives should never pass where we end up saying, well, we survived. But that I hope is not what you're saying. I also want to suggest that wherever it is you are getting your news, wherever it is, that you vary it up a little bit. Does that make sense? So if you get your news from Facebook, which is not necessarily bad, because Facebook is just almost like a search engine where people are recommending, right, whatever articles or news posts that they thought was interesting. If you're only getting it from Facebook, I highly recommend picking another source that is not the same source that people are sending to you on Facebook. So if you're looking at mostly Fox News, then maybe I would recommend CNN, maybe even Huffington Post. Like switch it up, because sometimes switching up, not sometimes, every time, having a variety of news sources and places where you learn from will open up different ways of thinking, will open up different avenues, will open up different perspectives and shifts. So switch it up. I think it's super interesting, if you've never done this, to find out if your news source, if you do have a news source, if it's like leftist, rightist, central, or alternative. If you don't know what it is, find out, like just Google it. There's lots of places that will tell you what it is considered. And then once you know what it's considered, like look at the opposite side, look at some alternatives. Definitely look at the centrist views. And I say the centrist views only because they tend to be the least sensationalized, and they lean super boring. Like the centrist is going to give you like the entire press conference of the president, which is like 2 friggin' hours long. That's what they're going to give you. So it's boring, but it's the news with less sensation. Whereas anything that gears left and gears right, they're going to give you, they're trying to make a little more money, and they're going to give you at least a slightly more sensational viewpoint. So you want to look at the opposite. You want to look at the central. And I think right now is kind of a cool time to look at some of the alternatives. You might consider them conspiracy theorists, and I'm not suggesting that any of it is true, but to get a pulse, to get a feel of why people are feeling the way that they're feeling, it helps to look at other news sources. And I'm going to end with, regardless of how you feel about the meme, regardless of the political opinion of your friends and families and acquaintances and random people on Facebook or social media, everyone right now is trying to do what they think is right for their family. And so if we kind of peel off the labels we have of each other, the vegan does not necessarily hate the carnivore. The vegan is eating in a way that he or she thinks is super healthy, and they are concerned with the carnivore, who in their opinion is eating unhealthy. And the carnivore is tired of justifying why they are a carnivore, but they're eating that way because, again, they think it is best for their life. And so we've got two people that are really doing the same thing in a different way, and thank goodness. Because who wants to be a robot? Who wants to be forced into a particular box and do the exact same thing everyone else is doing? So I like variety. I hope you like variety. If you haven't had variety in your news sources or your media sources, or even like the movies you're watching, like don't only watch one genre of movies. Watch something else and just see how your mind evolves, how your mindset can shift by delving into other thoughts. And that's it. We are day, oh my gosh, like 28. something like that. Like we're there. Actually, it's Saturday. We are day 28. This is day 28. Yep. Something more than surviving. That should be your goal. That's a lovely sound. Every single morning, Dad. I get mushed. So I would say about half of the customers and maybe like 80% of the associates at Chedraui was wearing a mask. And I don't have a mask, so I bought some material that I guess I could figure out how to make a mask with. All right, stand up. And turn around, show it off. All right, turn around again.
Aww.
What do you think?
I'm a ninja.